We have risen from the ashes to school the masses. Hello everyone, welcome to another edition of the Scholars of Wrestling Show. I'm your man behind the microphone, and new Scholars of Wrestling champion, Scholar Jeff.
Drink it in, man. Drink it in. Be proud.
I most certainly am, Scholar Brian. It is a wonderful victory coming off of the heels of Royal Rumble and our 2019 Royal Rumble game, which we will break down in further detail. And oh baby, is it good to have this baby back home.
That's the reason why the Royal Rumble game, which we will announce later, even though a lot of the viewers already know, but that's the reason why it's so good, okay, because it's so unpredictable. You have no idea going into it what could happen, okay? Who would have thought that you would get Natalya, Charlotte Flair, and Becky Lynch all in one Rumble? Okay, that's it.
I'll tell you what, if there's anything I've noticed between running these games, is that the winner usually, if you get the correct number of the person who wins and you predict the winner themselves, your odds are you're going to win.
Odds are you're going to win, and when you're lucky enough to get the three people who I believe had the most eliminations in the match, okay, surefire recipe for success. Doesn't matter. It didn't matter what happened in the second Royal Rumble, because at that point you'd already won.
The performance was that strong. And you know what? When it came to this prestigious title, that's the thing. Even if the Royal Rumble game had nothing to do with this, on predictions alone, the way we've always done it, I still would have won. I would have won by 1 point.
Because he believed in Becky Lynch.
Because I believed in the man. And you know what?
Actually, it had nothing to do with belief in her. I didn't have the belief in the WWE creative team to actually have the balls to do it. But,
and
for once, they actually proved me wrong.
And I'll tell you what, looking back, every single time I've won this championship, it's always been following my heart. It's always been betting on the long shots and following my heart that, you know what, eventually the will of the people has to come through. And you know what? Calling it just straight down the middle, even before we even got to the Royal Rumble game, which we'll cover in further detail, I would still win on points, which I believe would make me undisputed. Womp womp.
Reigning. Defending. Undisputed. Scholars of Wrestling champion.
Yes. Yes. As you can tell, the former champion, the esteemed Scholar Tarek, is out on the hiatus at the moment, licking his wounds, preparing to undoubtedly come back and reclaim this title, or at least give it his very best shot. He still is the Scholar in the Bank champion.
Because, let's face it, going with your heart does win you championships. But let's not get it twisted. Okay? It will cause you to lose that championship.
In fairly
challenge? Short order. It's not a challenge. It's a fact. That's it.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm laying it down right here and now in the spirit of all this. Given the Scholars of Wrestling Championship rules, I like a big stage. The biggest stage I can possibly get for my title defenses. So therefore, the next time, unless something else happens, I am going to defend this title at WrestleMania. The only way that's going to change is if Scholar Tarek comes out of the woodwork and ponies up that Scholar in the Bank briefcase and either instigates a title defense in me or scores higher than me on a prediction show and just cashes it in right then and there and takes the title.
But we shall see.
But if that happens, Scholar Tarek, you know where to get it, buddy.
So, at least for the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, I suggest not going with your heart. Because you know, Scholar Tarek, you know, he's waiting for any opportunity, any chance. He's that snake in the grass waiting for his opportunity to strike. And the moment he sees you on the prediction show say the words, "I'm going with my heart here," you know he's laughing on the inside. This is going to be my moment.
I'll tell you what, I've known Scholar Tarek for quite a while, and he is crafty as he is tenacious. I am expecting this. I am expecting the return of Scholar Tarek at any time. Could be next week, could be won't be until WrestleMania. I don't know when he's going to come back, but he will be back, and he will come back with a vengeance, and he should not be taken lightly. Which, not for nothing, could be the very reason why this stays on my waist, my shoulder, everywhere in my collection for quite a while. So if you want it, Scholar Tarek, Scholar Brian, whoever you are, if you want it, come and get it. You know exactly where I am.
I'm not feeling frisky today, so
and I'm really glad for that.
Your title is safe
for now,
because I know the viewers when they heard you say you're not going to defend it at the next pay-per-view, they were ready for me to jump, grab the title, and run. They were ready.
That's why it's staying here.
But
it can only work once, sir.
And not even that. Okay. I know where my bread is buttered. Okay. I know that Tarek still has the briefcase ready to use. And if it's gonna happen at the chamber, I'd rather it happen to you than happen to me. So, congratulations on the win, buddy.
Thank you.
And
after running the Royal Rumble game, I even had some people. Oh, he jinxed it. He rigged it. The game is rigged. I've been running this for 9 years.
Yeah,
and I just now won the damn thing.
If he rigged it, okay, it took him a long time to get the idea. Okay, that's it.
I don't think if I was really rigging this game, I don't think it would have taken me 9 years to win it. But we'll cover that in extended detail. But for now, we've got the 2019 Royal Rumble show to cover, starting with the surprise pre-show match. I don't think anyone saw coming unless you saw a show that I didn't. Rude and Gable defeating the mismatched team of Scott Dawson and Razor of the Authors of Pain.
This was made out of nowhere. Okay. And let's be completely honest. Nobody cared at all. This was so that they could put people in the spot that they normally put people when people are filing into the arena. They didn't have a match for that time slot. Mm-hmm. They didn't have one. So they were like, okay, Rude and Gable don't have anything. They're not going to be in the Rumble match. So let's throw them out there. And let's get Dawson some time on TV, some time on the pay-per-view, because he's been the one complaining the most on the Revival.
Excuse me.
And let's get Razor out there.
Slipshod matches.
Let's get Razor out there because Akam's injured. So let's get him on the pay-per-view.
Give him a paycheck.
Let's give him a paycheck. And it showed. The match was haphazardly thrown together. Nobody cared. Rude and Gable win. Yay. I'm not even going to say it was an appetizer. It was that thing that... It was that cinnamon roll that they throw at you that nobody cares about in the appetizer.
Dude, you don't care about cinnamon rolls? Fine, I'll never have you over for brunch. Next match, Shinsuke Nakamura defeating Rusev and getting back the United States Championship.
And
now this one I did not see coming.
And it won't matter in the long run anyway. But I like that the ending of this match played into something we'll talk about later.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. I don't. It's basically the same as this feud, and the same as the first match on this card. Haphazardly thrown together, wasn't really that good. Was just kind of out there. Okay, the only thing that really mattered in the end was the ending, and not because of the championship changing hands. It's because there was a chance now that something could happen later on in the show because of what happened to Lana at the end of the match. Nobody gave a shit that the title changed hands. And that's how far these two men and this title have fallen.
Yeah, it's really... At the time, I really didn't put two and two together with the whole Lana thing. I didn't see that as being the pathway that events would unfold as they did later on in the evening. However, even so, I was still surprised that the title was going back on Shinsuke. The reasons why I feel have not been fully expanded upon
and
just
they're
yet.
They're not gonna matter in the least because of what happened on SmackDown afterwards. So
I'm still not completely convinced if that's the payoff.
But here's the deal, okay? What was the point of the championship changing hands if it was just gonna change again at the next show? At that point,
shock value, get more eyes on the show, building to something.
Here's the problem. Okay, it's the United States title. It's these two men who you've buried so far down the card that they're on the pre-show and nobody gives a shit. So, yeah, it's leading to something, but is anybody going to care in the end other than analysts who like the guys that they're doing it? The crowd didn't care at all.
I still want to believe that this can go somewhere.
The crowd didn't care. And it's Shinsuke. It's two guys who last year the crowd would have been going nuts for, whether they were in the pre-show or not. And they were silent for this match. There was nothing happening because of how far they've killed these characters over the last year. So this was a match that, with the participants in it, should have been a lot better than it was. As it is, it was there, and it was only there for what happened later on in the night.
Yeah, I feel like this entire feud has a very unusual feel to it, in the sense that it's not necessarily the matches that propel it in my eyes, even though they are at the very least serviceable. I feel compelled to this feud just because of how weird and unpredictable it is. Like we said, sure, Shinsuke loses the title one day, only to get it back, a week later? And now we had the events of, SmackDown Live, and then what appears to be a botch is actually a thing now with R-Truth, and it's... What?
Hey, if they're gonna run with it, whatever.
I want to go completely bonkers with this match, with this whole feud now. At Elimination Chamber, I want a triple threat, something on a pole match. Go full Russo with this. Then it will go...
Lana in a cage. Let's go straight. You want to go wild? Let's go.
Lana in a cage match, Elimination Chamber, book it, Russo. It'll go from a forgettable slapshot feud to
at least we can have fun
you'll
with
never
it.
Forget.
At least we could have fun with it. As of right now, this is stupid.
But yet, as with anything in wrestling, the story goes on. Just like this next match, the final match on the pre-show, we had Buddy Murphy defeating Akira Tozawa, Hideo Itami, and Kalisto.
Kojima!
Yes, Kojima. And yeah, this must have been the final straw for Hideo Itami, who just may have seen the writing on the wall after this.
It's quite possible that... Well, yeah, he got pinned. He was the one who got pinned cleanly. Okay, there was a